Hello everyone. Welcome to one more quick video on series of videos on smart grid design and implementation. Actually, today, sometime back, I had recorded lecture 2 of this course, and I'm just making this as a follow because towards the end of lecture 2, there was a little bit rush. So I just want to slowly, explain the circuit, and we have done a demo module. So I'll also show that, and then how it works and all. And I would like to show a small demo also. Now, if you want to get complete details of what is this circuit, and then below also we build a module. There is another video on this, that is lecture 2 video. So see that 1 hour, 1.5 hour video to get the complete details. But this is just like a quick summary of that video. For the benefit of everyone, I'm making this. So basically what I'm talking about is power monitoring circuit, and this power monitoring circuit is built by basically two components. The first component is called PZEM400T version 3.0, and it is a rating of 100 amperes. So that is the first component. And the another component is called ESP8622, which is a IoT platform. Node MCU is also, people call it Node MCU kind of thing. It has Wi-Fi capability, but right now in this, we are not using the Wi-Fi capability. We are just using it as a microcontroller to communicate with this particular device, which is basically a power measurement device. Okay, so having said this, let me explain the circuit. First, using this diagram, I'll explain, and next, the same circuit, I'll explain how we connected these modules. So, by the way, this is the module which I'm calling as PZEM 400T. Excuse me, and this is the module that is ESP8266. So, this is the measurement of power, and this is the microcontroller which reads the read data from this thing. I'm sorry, I'll explain everything first through this. Okay, so here you can see the P is coming. This P is the phase. Then there is a switch. So this is the outside supply. We need a main supply phase, and there is a switch. After the switch, there is a plug, and to that plug, I'm connecting a simple load. So the load looks very simple. It's just something like this. Let me show you. So this is a plug with a bulb, and it goes here. So this is the load. Now the neutral of the load is going back to the neutral. So this red lines, everything is the power circuit, this thing. Now, for the operating of this PZEM, there are two sides. One side is the power side, and other side is the communication side. On the power side, two terminals, phase and neutral, have to be given. So, so the neutral line anyway is available. So I have taken a tapping to the neutral line. Phase line also, before the switch I connected, because when the switch is open, still this device receives phase and neutral. At least it will measure the power. When the switch is open, the current here is 0, the current here is 0. Anyway, the power, everything is 0. But at least this device can do the voltage measurement when the switch is open. So that's why before the switch, I'm taking the P. It can also be taken after the switch. That is your choice. Meanwhile, this is a what is called as a current transformer. And it is a coil to measure the current. So the current in the line will be huge. In order to reduce the current so that this particular device can measure, step down transformer is used. The CT, it has S1, S2, two terminals, and they are connected here. So the current transformer looks something like this. I have another spare current transformer. It is a coil, and it has two wires, red is S1 and black is S2. So now here you need to insert the neutral from through this. Not both wires. If you receive both wires, then the net current will become 0. Only one of the wires you have to insert. So anyway, I'll show that in the next part. Next, coming to on the other side, so we have a laptop. In the laptop, I have installed the Arduino IDE, because this particular ESP not only works with the Arduino board, but Arduino IDE, but this Arduino IDE also works with this board. That's what I wanted to tell. ESP8222 Node MCU. So in order for Arduino IDE to work with this, we need to select the Arduino, this ESP board, and the proper port we have to mention. So the USB port is connected. Now, why this USB port is connected from Arduino to ESP? First, we download the code. The code will be downloaded into the ESP, and that code will give the read command to this one, and these measured values are transmitted back to this. And again, through this same cable, the data is received to the laptop, and we can visualize the data in the laptop. So that is the arrangement that we are having. So what is the downloading code and how we receive the data, that we'll see shortly. But coming here, little bit of detail is there here again. So the terminals on the PSM side are ground, then transmit, receive, and 5 volt. The terminals correspondingly on the ESP side, ground is connected to ground and 5 volt is connected to VIN. So this VIN is a voltage supply given to this. Actually, this VIN is derived from the USB of the laptop. Through that, it is supplied here like this. And then there is a D7 and D6. D7 and D6 are the terminals, that general purpose input output terminals. So actually in the software, D7 is identified as 13, pin number 13, and D6 is identified as pin number 12. Actually, this ESP8222, it has a different pin configuration. I'll show you like this. So the pin numbers are inside here. So for example, D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, then D5, D6, like that, we have pin numbers like this. Whereas the general purpose IO, that is the whatever software numbers. So for example, D1 is called 5, D2 is called 4, D3 is called 0. So it's basically randomly allocated. So in this process, D6 is 12, D7 is 13. So that's what we'll be using. Anyway, so let's go back to our this thing. By the way, this is the picture of this ESP 8622. Okay, now that I explained the circuit, I'll show you how we have done the connection. Again, we have done an entire 1 hour video, more than 1 hour video, while I was live doing this connection, but now I will explain. So just look at these two, this here. From this hole, I'm getting phase and neutral. The black wire is neutral, red wire is phase. So the phase is going directly to the, if you track this particular wire, the phase is directly going to the switch. After the switch is over, then the phase connection is again going to the phase of the particular plug. And on the other side, we get the neutral of the plug, and the neutral of the plug is going through the current transformer, going back to the main supply through this, again through this hole. So this is the power connection. Just now what I explained is this connection. The phase coming like this, then there is a switch, then there is a plug, and then again through this neutral wire, through this it is going back to the, through this current transformer going back to neutral. That is one connection. Meanwhile, I have to also mention this connection, that is S1, S2 and PN. So S1, S2, obviously you can see here there is a current coil, and out of that it is coming. And here on this, if you see, the top two are S1 and S2. So the red is connected to S1 and the next one is connected to S2. Similarly, there are again red and black connected to phase and neutral of this side. So where are these coming from? The phase is directly coming from the switch itself, that is before the switch, and then the neutral is directly coming from the plug, that is after the near to the load. So like this you can take the tapping. So this is the power side connections. Let us now come to the information side connections. Sorry that this thing got disconnected. Let me put it back. Okay, so on the information side connections, you can see there is, as I explained again in this diagram. So you can see here on the PSM side, ground, transmit and receive, and 5 volt. So that's what you can see here. These wires are ground, transmit, receive and 5 volt. 4 wires you can see here. These 4 wires are going, 3 of them are blue and 1 is yellow. So sorry for not using different colors. But then the connections are important. So on the other side, we have the pin numbers. So for example, you see here, D6 and D7, they are connected to RX and TX as I explained in this particular diagram. Similarly, on the other side, the power connections are also made. So let me check all these connections. I think now everything is kind of settled. So let me now close this whole thing. By the way, this white wire, this is the regular your USB cable. This is going again back to the same hole. It is going to, I mean, a different hole maybe. It is going to the laptop for this thing. Now all the connections are done. So hopefully, if everything is fine, I'll close this thing. So in front of you, I'm closing. So once you close this, make sure that you don't damage any of these wires. So we are actually supposed to properly fix everything inside, but since anyway this is a demo, I'm just closing it. So you will only see two wires coming out of this entire box. So this entire box is like this. Only two wires are coming. This is the input supply, and this is the wire going to the USB. And let me seal this box before we start the software part. Where is my, yeah, so I have the screws here. So in the interest of time, there are four, but I will just only put two screws. So here is one. So the first screw going in. And the other one going in here. So I'm just choosing the diagonally opposite this thing so that it is more stable. So these two are done now, and this comes with a nice this thing for visual appeal. Comes like this. So this is just a small piece of plastic. So if you just keep it like this, it will improve the visibility, okay, so that it looks good. Okay, so where is the other one? Okay, so apparently the other one is not to be seen right now to cover this, but let it be. I mean, since it's not a critical thing, we'll not worry about it. Now look at the box. The box looks like this, completely closed from the back, and these two wires you already know, and from the front also it looks good. So it looks like any other ordinary box, but this is not any ordinary box. This has power measurement capability. Whatever load is connected, we can measure the power. So let's try that now. So I'll bring in the load. Okay. So the load is a lamp. And before I do this, now let me share the software part. Okay. So now I'm going to this laptop, and here also you can see the whole box. If I draw a box like this, the box contains P and N coming in, and then this USB cable. Anyway, so now let's go back, and I'll show you the software code. So this is the software code, which again I've explained about this in my earlier video. So I hope you are able to see that. Now the code is very simple. It is just about 29 lines. In fact, there are a lot of empty spaces. Let me, if I remove the empty spaces, it will be even shorter. So what is the code? The code is like this. We include this library, PZM004T V30. And from that library, I create a connection called PSM. For connecting, I mentioned 13 and 12. So again, this is the hardware connection. It has to match with the software. So 13 is supposed to be the receiving, and 12 is supposed to be the transmitting in the case of this particular PSM module, that software. So 13, the receiving of 13 will be connected to the transmit of TX, and here 12 is connected to RX. So like that. So anyway, so note that we are not using any what is that D6, D7 kind of terminology. Although D6, D7 was printed on this particular board, those numbers we are not using. We are using the the GPIO numbers as per the mapping which I showed. Then we create a serial connection. This serial connection is between the laptop and the ESP module. This connection, so the connection which in the second line is between the these two. So there are two connections. So one connection you can see between these two devices, that is the line number 2 what we created, and the another connection is between the cable and the laptop. So that's it. So and then simple, this is a setup one-time job, and then in the loop we query the voltage from this device, we query the current, we query the power, energy, frequency, and power factor. So simple like this command will query the values. And sometimes if the power is not there or things like that, the it will return a not a number value or a dummy value. So in that case, I'm resetting all the values to 0. Otherwise, whatever values are there, they will be retained. Then I'll simply go for serial printf. So I'm printing to the particular laptop. So these all values. So this is a formatting only. So 0.1f means the voltage value will be formatted as a 0.1, that is 1 decimal place up to accuracy, and frequency up to 3, and so on. And then I have voltage, current, power, all these values, and the delay of 5000 seconds. 5000 milliseconds, sorry. So that means 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, I am taking a reading and I am getting the data like this. Okay, so knowing this now, what I would like to do next is I already dumped this code. So let's see what output it is showing. So right now, if you see, the output looks like this. So the new data comes at the bottom and the old data comes at the top. So right now the time is 8:42 p.m. So that's why 20:42 8 seconds. The values are all zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0. This is the new data which is coming at this thing. So just for your benefit, I'll simply say clear output, so that the data, you can actually see how the output is coming. So all are zeros. Okay, now let me connect a load. So also keep your eye on this side, the video. So I'm connecting a lamp, and so maybe I'll just, without disturbing anything, I'll connect the lamp over here. And so right now I'll switch on the lamp and we'll look at the data. Okay. So the moment the lamp is switched on, now you can see lamp to be switched on. Now observe on the screen, it starts showing some power. Okay. So the current is 0.275 amperes and the power is 66.4 watts. Actually, this particular lamp is rated for 60 watts. So it is slightly more than its rating it is taking. That is okay. Energy, so 0.047 kilowatt hour is the total energy. So this is actually cumulative energy. So whenever I reset, it will keep on adding. 50 hertz is the frequency, 0.99 power factor. So power factor usually, because this is a resistive lamp, the power factor is anyway 0.99. Okay, now we can try different loads. Okay, so I switch off this, and again you see the readings going back to 0. So be a little careful. The lamp is a little hot. Okay, so I take a cloth and take out this. So the power comes back to 0.5 watts. That is the consumption of this particular device. Now I will connect another lamp. Okay, so this another lamp is only 8 watts reading. So let me connect that and let me switch on. I think some issue with the connection. Last try. Okay, so let's go to some other load because that lamp is not detecting. So anyway, so problem might be with the lamp. So I go back and now I'd like to connect my laptop, sorry, the mobile charger. So here is my mobile phone. I think you can see my mobile phone. And here is a charger. So right now the current is only 0.39 and 0.5 watts. So let me see how it will change. Started charging. I got the charging notification. Now you see 6.7 watts. You can see on the screen, it is showing more power, 7.3 watts, and so on, like this, 7.4 watts and all. So like this, we can see more watts in this thing. So if I collect this data for some time, I can completely know how much is the power or energy taken by this thing. So imagine that this my phone is charging at the rate of 7 watts actually, and the other lamp which was there, that lamp itself was like 8 watts lamp. So it's almost like the charging current or charging power is equal to a big lamp. Okay, so now my phone is charging. So let me switch off. So I stopped. My phone is at 62%, so that is fine. So I'll put the phone back here. Okay, so let's try something more interesting. So I disconnect this. So now what I want to try is a bigger load. Okay, so let me move this a little to accommodate that the so-called bigger load. And the bigger load cannot be introduced right away. So for that, I want to first keep a cloth down. So I think now you can see a red cloth here. And the load which I'm mentioning is actually an iron box. So see, this iron box is completely cold. So this is the iron box, you can see, and this is a plug. Everything is here, and the what you call. I'll just clear the output so that you can see what is the power consumed by this iron box. This is completely cold. So I will make some time to use this. See, there is another interface. Rather than seeing values like this, Arduino provides another interface. I close this. I go to tools, and then I'll go for serial plotter. Earlier we used serial monitor. Now I'll use serial plotter. So automatically it will be showing the plotting of all the parameters. So now I think on your screen you can see different parameters being displayed. So now slowly the plots will come up because we are taking 5 seconds every reading. So the readings are slowly starting to appear. So here if you see at the corner, small line we can see, that is the voltage. So usually the voltage value is close to 240 volts. So today, right now, a little bit high voltage we can see. And this line, what you see at the down here, this is the grid frequency. Grid frequency is at the 50, and this voltage is at 240. Now the power is always zero because we did not connect any load. Now I am connecting this load. So, and then you will notice that the power will jump. Okay. So I am connecting the iron box and I'll switch on. So, and let's wait for the seeing how the power will increase. Yes, so here you can see a big spike appeared on the screen, and it is exceeding more than so close to 800 watts. It has gone. So this because on the nameplate details of this particular this thing. So maybe you can see the details here. So it is written 750 watts is the rated what you call load of this. So it is started taking more than 750 watts. Probably that is because design is like that, or power may be more here. The voltage may be more, so it is taking like that. So anyway, so let's wait. So if I now don't try this, if you just touch it, you can start slowly feeling the heat. I'll just wait for some time, let it get heated. Now the voltage slightly reduced actually. And you also notice that on the y-axis, you can see the readings also changed. So this is 750. So above 750. So close to 800 watts is what it is consuming right now. And if I down, if you see, this is the voltage. There is a small dip in the voltage, and there is the frequency is still being maintained at 50. Of course, adding this load will not impact the grid frequency much, but that's it. So let's do some work. Since anyway we connected the iron box, so I'll quickly do some ironing. Okay, so let me clear the place here. Okay, so I think I can move towards a little bit here. So I need something to iron. So this is what I am bringing. So this is a cute little shirt. This is my son's shirt, t-shirt. So I'm just quickly, I'm going to do that. There are some dinosaurs on this. You still see the in the power curve, the line is still what you call the power still at 800. So I'm just doing this. Now you notice while I started ironing and then I'm ironing the shirt and everything, you notice that power goes back to 0. So there is an internal timer or whatever internal thermal sensor inside this that is making the power go back to 0. So after running for a few seconds, so probably about 1 minute or 45 seconds or so, I don't know how much time. Now the reading went back to I think more than a minute. So by the way, here the on x-axis in the plot, it is not time. It is basically the number of readings. Anyway, let me finish doing this. And right now, the power consumption is 0 actually. Even though I'm ironing this particular thing, the power consumption is still 0. That is how this thing is designed. Once it reaches the maximum temperature, it will do that. So again, you notice while I continue to work, the power again jumped back to 750. So again, it started taking more and more power because probably while I'm using it, that temperature might have reduced. So because of the reduced temperature, it went up, and for a few seconds the power was high. Again, the power came down. You notice on the screen like that. So I almost completed. Just bear with me for a couple of minutes. Like this, and finally the last part. So while I started using, you saw one spike on this thing power. So probably after some time one more spike may come. So let me. So I think with this my ironing is done. So let me fold it. So like this. So once I finish this, now you see there is a second spike again, and the second spike also completed. That is reduced, completed in sense coming back to 0. So the pattern, the whole point of doing this exercise is that when we monitor an appliance like this iron box, when we monitor an appliance, each appliance has its own pattern. And looking at the patterns in the data, you should be able to identify what appliance has been operated. So if you see spikes of 750 watt for certain time period and all, then you can recognize or you can say that it is a load of this iron box. Okay, let's wait for one more spike, and then we'll stop. So I'm expecting any time now because it has to maintain the temperature. When the power is 0, it stops heating and it starts cooling down, and then immediately again it starts. Once it starts cooling down, it hits the minimum temperature. Then we'll expect again to consume some more power and increase the temperature. See, now it is taking longer duration. Yeah, so now we got one more spike. Look at the screen, you can see the distance between the first two spikes is less because I was using the device at the time. So if you don't use, then the heat consumption is less. So while I was ironing, it is more. In fact, you can also notice that the third spike, which we just got, is slightly thinner. So this is interesting again in that way. So look at it again. The initial, whatever you got, this initial square kind of thing. So this one is for longer duration because we are heating the whole thing. And once this thing got heated, then we start getting spikes like this. Whenever it's required, it will take some power and then it will shut down. So only when it is required, it takes power. It is similar to like anything with controller where we have to control the temperature. So let's wait for one more spike, and then we'll switch off. I'm expecting a spike anytime now. Yes, it started. Spike started coming. So yes, we have another spike. So whenever you see this kind of pattern, you should know that an iron box is connected. And the distance between these spikes, if the distance is less, we are using the iron box. Otherwise, iron box is just left like that. So in order to prove that it's quite hot, I'll just put a drop of water on it. You can see. We'll also listen here to the sound. Do you hear the sound? Immediately water gets evaporated because it is quite high. Of course, I don't have the temperature sensor, but anyway, so it is that. So now I am hoping that next spike will be shorter because I put water and cooled it down. The next spike should be closer, right? Because it's losing the temperature. I'm virtually using this. Yeah, so I got this spike. So anyway, I think with this we'll conclude. The idea of this particular session was to show you a simple power monitoring device. So let me completely switch off. So if I completely switch off, then you don't expect any more spikes. So this is quite hot. So let me move it away. So this is the device, which is simple device. Looks nothing special, but it's all the thing is inside. The intelligence and everything is inside. From outside, it just looks like any regular plug system, but we have incorporated monitoring. The only thing that next we have to do, if I go back to this, is that now instead of the data coming to the laptop, I'll stop sharing this so that you'll be able to see this properly. Okay, so the only difference that we need to make is that instead of data coming to laptop through this path, if I activate Wi-Fi on this particular device, then directly through Wi-Fi, the data can go to the cloud. Okay, so let me show that schematically here. So what happens? This is going to be in the later sessions in the course. I'm going to show. So this has a Wi-Fi cap. That's what is ESP8266. It has a Wi-Fi capability. So if I activate the Wi-Fi, connect it to a local Wi-Fi network, then I can send the data to cloud or server. So once the data goes to the server, from there we will pick up the data and we will build websites and things like that. Meanwhile, do we still need this laptop? Actually, no, because the data is now diverted to the cloud. We don't need this cable, but then we need a power supply to this. So in that case, what we will do, we'll keep a USB adapter here on this phase and neutral, and from that USB adapter, let me show that here. So this is the alternate power supply. So we have a USB adapter, basically the mobile charger kind of thing, whatever. So it connects to the neutral and phase, and the output will be again the USB. So now we this thing we don't use. We give again the supply. Although I'm showing the connection at a different location, but basically this is the same port. So this is one option, and this is another option. So in future we will try to keep even that everything in one complete box. So let me show the border of the box, and with that I will further not extend this particular video. So finally, the box will contain all of this. Okay, so from here, the box will contain, so maybe I'll use slightly darker color. Finally, the box will contain all of this. The load will be outside, laptop will be outside, cloud of course will be outside. So whatever I have shown in this, all of this will be able to fit inside this particular device. In fact, I have more plans for this. The other plan is, if I go back, other plan is to control this particular load. How do we control? So if we give any program in this such that whenever the uh, time is so and so, switch off, or like at 10 o'clock you should switch off the lights, like that. If you want to program something, you can use this. So what we can do is that we can keep a particular relay switch here. So let me again show that as another option. So on the phase here, I'll keep a relay switch. So this is a relay switch. So relay switch can be interfaced with the one of the terminals. So for example, let's say I use the terminal something like D3. So the D3, I can bring it and connect it to this relay, and I can control the now this load using this particular relay. In that case, even this relay will be also kept inside the box. So you might notice that this box, those who are registered for these students and all, I'll circulate this thing. Give your address. I'm going to ship this box to you. Of course. This later we'll try to see. So all the list of items, everything I will specify. So for Smart Grid from Home project, I want you all to develop this box to begin with. This is just a start. Once this box is developed, then I want you to further experiment. See, today I tried with iron box. So what about refrigerator? What about a TV? What about a washing machine? What kind of patterns that these particular devices have? So all that would be interesting to see. So so one final look at the spikes. So let me go back. So since we switched off the iron box, so there are no further spikes as expected. Let me show you this thing. So there are no further spikes. We got total the big spike at the beginning to heat the iron box, and then followed by 5 spikes of smaller and smaller length to do that. Okay. So I think with this you got the idea. I'll conclude. I thought of making a short video, but finally it ended out again a long video as an extension to today's class. So this is I'll not call it lecture 3. This is still lecture 2, maybe lecture 2 part 2 or something like that. So before I wind up this session, again, all the time, keep in view our overall schedule that is like this on your screen. So today is October 13, component selection and ordering we discussed. Next class will be on October 16, then 20, 23 like this, and then building your hardware platform. So by the time we hope to ship this particular box to you, I will not make any connections, just the components I will give it to you. You have to make all the connections. You have to do the software part. You have to connect the load, and you have to extract the readings from this. So that will be your task over the next this thing. And with that, let me conclude. Thank you for your time.